Danger, danger, Will Robinson, danger. Well, danger, America. This is Thoughts While Thinking again. And these opinions are mine and mine alone. And we're talking about some pages I've written in my Rationalizers Handbook. And I think it's something you want to think about. I don't know that most of you know that we've got a fascist economy. And that is when we merger the federal government with a corporations and business and control. And right now, the government's controlling 45-50% of all the business decisions that we're having to make with all their rules and regulations. And think about that. And years ago, Hitler had his left-wing battle against free speech. Now we've got Antifa and Black Lives Matter trumping on our free speech. And if we lose our free speech, we've lost it all. And that's a page I've written in my Rationalizers Handbook. And the media, I don't know why they got so far on the left and started all this fake news and stuff, but that's what it is. They'll glorify those people that are against capitalism and free enterprise and liberty in the pursuit of happiness in favor of the totalitarian communist and socialist. I don't understand that, but that's a page in my Rationalizer's Handbook. And Antifa, they make a big stink about having the American flag on their welfare card. Well, they ought to get down on their knees and thank you for all those free stuff we're giving. In this fascist USA we're in right now, we've got a corrupt criminal government. We got a corruption in the media, and we got a comatose public. So think about that. I've been writing those pages for a while, and all this regulations and government control of businesses and corporations have just got us all stifled, and they lead to your less buying power and all kinds of negative things that we're talking about. And minimum wage is one of them. They've raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour, and that's just a big overload on the backs of the taxpayer because the national unions' wages are tied to the minimum wage, and the government employees are tied to the minimum wage, and whatever percentage of increase of the minimum wage, it just trickles all the way up the same percentage to all the way around. And that's pages in the Rationalizers Handbook. And old John Adams, he says there's two ways to enslave a country, and one of them was with a sword, and the other was with the debt. Well, we're about to be enslaved with the debt we've got right now. Right now, we've got more debt than than you can even imagine. We got right now. There's only two times in history where we've had greater debt than we have gross national product, and that other time was in World War II. Now think about that. I've written several pages in my Rationalizers Handbook on that one. And, the government will sit there and they'll try to tell you that they're transparent and everything is cool and they're being honest and stuff. But when you get right down to it, between them and the crooked media, everything is covered up, and it's under security. It's under classified information that you can't get. And, the capitalism, we've got just all kinds of flourishing, and we grew the greatest country in the world and the highest standard of living in the world has ever known by far. And they want to replace that with socialism. And, pretty good description of socialism is the old farmer's got 2 cows, so he just has to give his neighbor one. Now think about that. That's what the definition of socialism is, and it goes on further from there. And socialism is appealing to a lot of people because they're lazy and they don't want to work. But they're saying that, socialism, you don't work, you get everything free. Well, I don't know anything that gets free. Somebody pays for it all. But the Democrats and the Republicans in Washington has got their feet in a trough, and they're just sucking up all of this stuff, and they're about to punch that button of no return on us, and that's a danger. We've got to do something about that, and that's another page in my Rationalizers Handbook. And we get that $15 an hour going up from 7.25. That's going to cost a lot of people not being able to work and have to get on welfare. Now think about that. Write a page in your Rationalizers Handbook. And the labor market, we just can't. Businesses, they're not in the business to employ people. They're in business to make a profit and provide goods and services for their owners. And and it gets to where they can't make a profit by the high wages, that then they go out of business, and then everybody's unemployed. Now think about that. And the left is sitting here hollering down with capitalism, and the other side is saying we got the freedom, we got the Constitution, and the other side saying we don't want that Constitution. Now write a page in your Rationalizer's Handbook on that, like I have. And it all started back under Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1938. That's when he passed all of that welfare stuff, and that's when the minimum wage come in at 25 cents an hour. And you can see on the graph how much that's grown since then. Well, and they say, well, you got $15 an hour now. I'm going to have to cut your hours back because I can't afford to work you. I'm going to have to do it myself, or I'm going to have to hire some technical equipment to take care of your job. And Reagan said, one of the scariest things there is when the government, somebody says, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. Well, they went to help the farmers, and they started taking the corn and making ethanol out of it, and having to put it in your gas tank. And that ethanol is not good for your engine, and it gets less gas mileage when they're using that. And it's also raising the price in the grocery store. And now think about how that works. I've got several pages again, and maybe you want to start writing some on that. And the minimum wage is just going to get so high that it's going to lay people off, and they're going to be on a welfare check, and being non-productive. And our system here, we want productive people. And the minimum wage, they just take another big bite out of that dollar, and it causes more inflation, because as the wages go up, all the prices go up, all the way from to the grocery store or wherever you're buying. And the left keeps pumping that welfare and other government spending, and it's getting so that we're about to bust. We're about to burst. We're about to explode. We're about to do away with our whole country. We're in danger. We're in danger. And that's a page in my Rationalizers Handbook. And all these high wages and government controls and taxes and stuff, we're just outsourcing and shipping all of our jobs and money overseas. And we're becoming a third world country. We may already be there. And, ever since the inception, the executive branch has got their big spoon out and a handout, and they want more and more, and Congress has been giving it to them. Until now, we've got such a mess in Washington, I don't know that we can ever do it. And that's a page I've written in my Rationalizers Handbook, and you need to think about that too. And we may be like the old story about the horse closing the gate after the horse gets out of the barn. We may be closing the vault, but too late, because I think our economy is already gone. Let's look at what's going on. And we just keep feeding that old inflation, and we're just going to hit that depression here for long, and we already looks like we're making that turn. And it's all about this corruption and shadow government and bureaucracy we got. You know, we got these employees that are telling you what to do and stuff, and we can't get rid of them. And they're not elected, but they're giving you government control. And we're being tracked. They know what time you get up. They know where you go. They know probably what kind of breakfast you had. And every time you log into your computer or phone, well, Google and everybody else knows exactly where you are and what you're doing. And we're sitting here a little oblivious to that. It's kind of like they put those trackers on those sharks. They say, well, the poor things, they don't know they're being tracked, and then they're looking at their cell phone and they're being tracked. So yeah, around it goes. These pages in the Rationalizers Handbook get bigger and bigger. And the world government and the bank is one of the things that everybody's worshiping now. And we are going to that one world government and one world bank. And that banking industry is what is trying to enslave us. And think about that. And, we're overloaded. We're getting these regulations from the government by the truckloads, and businesses just can't stand all these regulations. And we're still in crazy. We're not getting out of it, and we got to buckle up and do something about that. And we're talking about how we are right now and how bad it was back under Carter. President Carter, when he went in there, I had a commercial loan, and I was paying 25% interest, and it looks like it's going that way now. So we're surpassing all of the negatives that Carter had. And that's something to think about, because that's a big page in the Rationalizers Handbook. And most of it started in 1979 when we started dumbing down and having the federal government start and controlling our schools. Now think about that. That needs to be thought about. And we're looks like we're in the 1984 Handbook of George Orwell, and while we're sitting there enjoying our computer instead and looking everything up on Google, it's just eating our lunch over here, and we got to think about that. And that's my thoughts while thinking in pages of my Rationalizers Handbook. And I think that we've had about enough, and we need to do something about it, because they're trumping on our constitutional rights and free enterprise and all of that. And I thank you for watching. And that's adios, amigos, and I'll see you on the flip side.